What he didn't tell you was that every election year, medicine has been the whipping boy of the politicians. And with each election, the floggings have become more vigorous, more brutal, and more dangerous, until finally they've got the foot into the door or the camel's nose into the tent. Now most of us are on the outside and the silly camel has the tent. Next on the line is Dr. Jagger, who will tell you a little bit about the morality and the immorality. In some circles that doesn't mean much anymore. It's supposed to be synonymous. Depends on who gets caught doing what. But we don't feel that way, Dr. Jagger.
Thank you, Dr. Dorrity. I have no desire and no intention to initiate the use of force against any honest person. And I would define an honest person as one who does not himself initiate the use of force against others. I want to work, to create, to produce, to build, to deal with my fellow man in willing exchange for mutual advantage. I want to share what I have with my needy neighbors. I want to serve my fellow man. I want to love my neighbor. I want to love my neighbor partly because this is what I have learned from the teachings of Jesus, that we should love our neighbors, and also because I have learned from my actual experience in my own life that this is the best way to go. This is the best way for me to live, to love my neighbors. I recognize that I cannot love my neighbor if I am using force against him. I cannot love my neighbor if I am stealing from him. And this is another one of God's laws from the Ten Commandments: thou shalt not steal. Please note that there's a period after the word steal in that commandment. It does not say thou shalt not steal, comma, except under specified circumstances. It just says thou shalt not steal, period. There are some now who claim that there is a new morality, that we have new laws, a new set of 10 commandments. If everybody else is doing it, it's okay for you to steal a little bit. And if everybody else is doing it, well, why shouldn't you get your share? That sort of thing. They also claim that if the majority votes for it, then that makes it all right. But the commandment as I read it is, thou shalt not steal, period. And stealing would be the forcible seizure of something of value from some other person. I would urge you to take a look at government and take a look at the way the government operates. For government is, by definition, an organization that asserts and maintains a monopoly on the use of force within a specified geographic area. Technically, our government is supposed to give equal protection of the law for all citizens, no special benefits for anybody. When was the last time you heard a politician during his election campaign say, vote for me and I won't give you anything special? Vote for me and I will give equal protection of the law to all citizens and nothing special for you, no matter how much you contribute to my campaign. You haven't heard that lately, have you? As a child of God, I want to live by God's law, and I am reminded that God is love and government is force. I render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. Yes, I pay the taxes that are required of me, and I try to pay them on time. But I do not accept benefits from any government program. I don't get paid for not growing corn out there in Iowa. I don't live in a place where my electrical power is subsidized by government. I don't do a lot of other things that could be done in order to have somebody else pay some of my bills by using government to force somebody else to pay some of those bills for me. I do not accept benefits from any government program because I recognize that any time I take the action to get benefits from government, I would then be initiating force against honest persons, workers, taxpayers, from whom the money was seized originally with which to give me those benefits. I have even notified the Social Security Commissioner that I do not choose to be a beneficiary of the Social Security program. I will pay the taxes which they require, yes, but I am not a beneficiary and do not choose to be a beneficiary, and as far as their so-called reserve, which does not exist, is concerned, they can scratch my name off the list, take the money that they're seizing from me, put it in there to use for whatever evil purposes they might have. I'm not a beneficiary. I have even asked that my number be changed to indicate this. They gave me a response which was not satisfactory, the usual kind of bureaucratic response. I wrote back, when you guys put something in the Federal Register, you give 30 days for objection to be filed, and if no valid objection is filed within 30 days, it becomes administrative law by edict. I am hereby notifying you that in 30 days my Social Security number is going to be changed. The first three numbers of your Social Security number indicate the office from which the Social Security number was issued. I pointed out that I am crossing out their program, therefore I'm going to cross out with 3 X's the first 3 numbers of my Social Security number, and they did not file a valid objection to this within 30 days, and so my Social Security number now is XXX-20-1262. If you care to join me in this action, I'd be happy to have you. Just remember the first 3 numbers are XXX. Why would I do all this? Because as a physician, I want to maintain my freedom to serve my patients, my freedom to practice good medicine. If I were to take benefits from government, I would have to put out my hand to get those benefits. And when you put out your hand, your bare wrist is exposed, and that's where they put on the chains. To give good medical care, I must be a physician. To be a physician, I must be intelligent. To be intelligent, I must be free. Free to think, free to act, free to serve my patient. To save good medicine in this country, to save ethical medicine, I must follow God's law, not get sucked into slavery by accepting the new morality, or whatever they want to call it. Not get sucked into slavery by saying, well, this is the wave of the future, this is the way the law reads, we've got to go along to get along, we have to be practical, we have to be pragmatic, etc., all the various excuses that many other physicians are using. Those men will find in due course of time that after they reach out to get those benefits, after the chains are put on their wrists, they can no longer be physicians. They can be medical clerks. They can be doing appendectomies and delivering babies and seeing patients in the office, yes, and they can even appear to be practicing medicine, but they will be technicians and medical clerks subject to the edicts and regulations of the Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare. They will not be physicians. I would remind you that Mrs. McKinney and Colonel Bunker have very properly named this the Rally for God, Family, and Country. And thank you, Mrs. McKinney and Colonel Bunker, for putting it in the way that I would have. I love it. I love it the way you did it. God, family, and country, because in the beginning, God. In the beginning, God. And without God, there is nothing else. So God has to be first. And we have to follow God's law first. And then God created man and woman and the family. And one of the other commandments was, honor thy father and thy mother. And I look upon the family as a creation of God also. And then our country, which is important, yes, but it comes in third place because governments are instituted among men for the protection of the equal rights for all of us. Remember God, preserve our family, live in accordance with God's law, and you can help to save our country. I am trying to do my part. As a child of God, I'm trying to follow God's law, trying to preserve families. I practice family medicine, general medicine, trying to work with families in my little town out there in rural Iowa. In case you get discouraged sometimes, in case you think the federal debt is monstrous and huge, remember that the federal debt actually is smaller today than it would have been had I followed some other course of action. I have not received any government benefits on any of these government programs. If you hear about doctors getting big piles of money out of these government programs, remember, I'm not taking any of it, neither are these other doctors up here. I even have a legal contract which was signed effective July 1, 1962, which is 11 years and 1 day ago. And for the past 11 years, it has been legally impossible for me to accept any money from any government agency, federal, state, local, county, anything. I cannot accept any federal, state, local, any government money in payment for my medical services. I even served 4 years as a county medical examiner without even any reimbursement for my expenses, because this would be government money coming into my pocket and I wouldn't take it. I served my community in this way, but did not take any money, not even for reimbursement of expenses. I am not taking government money for serving my patients. I do serve the patient, I would reassure you. I am in general practice in a small town in northeast Iowa. My office door opens onto Main Street. Anybody is welcome to come in. I do not limit my practice by age or sex or disability. I refer complicated cases to specialists, of course. My name is in the phone book, in both the white pages and the yellow pages, in discreet professional type, of course. And I answer the phone day or night. I make house calls day or night. I have even made a house call by horse and buggy. A farmer in my area called one night and wanted me to come out to the house. He said, the roads are so bad you won't be able to get through in your car. I'll meet you at the gravel with the horse and buggy. There were a couple of mud holes where the horse had a hard time getting through. There are not very many doctors my age that made a house call by horse and buggy. So when you get discouraged, and when you think that federal debt is so monstrously huge, remember that it's at least that much smaller because of the particular action which I have taken as an individual. I have altered the course of history. I have changed the federal debt that much. We in the Association of American Physicians will continue to fight for principle, and we will preserve the private practice of medicine. I reassure you of that. In spite of the fact that there are others who will say collectivism is the wave of the future and all that nonsense, I assure you that we will preserve the private practice of medicine, and in case things get pretty bad in New England or wherever you are in the rest of the country, I know there are people here from all over the country, if things get too bad in your own locality, come on out to northeast Iowa, look for a little town called Owine. No matter what's been going on in the rest of the country, no matter if we have complete bankruptcy of the federal government, I'll still be there practicing free enterprise medicine. Look me up, I'll still be there, and I'll do the best I can to serve you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Jagger, we already have complete bankruptcy of the federal government.
We're all coming.
He didn't tell you that since they have rewritten the textbooks to serve the purpose of the socializers and to destroy the things that we hold dear, they have also rewritten the Bible, and the commandment that he talked about, thou shalt not steal, it has been rewritten to say, thou shalt not steal unless thou art a congressman or a senator or the president or somebody of that sort. This is what you call situation ethics. It suits the situation, so therefore it is ethical.